Say what we want about the South Pole, but at least it's not trying to co-opt your IP address. Online security has never been more important in today's age of online everything, and that's why today's video sponsor, NordVPN, is so important. We've talked about the benefits of VPNs before on this channel. This isn't 1998 when AOL was a quaint online village with minimal threats. Too many people today are looking into your internet history, bad actors trying to steal your data and personal information, corporations tracking your browser activity and bombarding you with ads. Who needs any of that nonsense? That's where NordVPN comes in, making your online experience safer and securer. And look, a common misconception is that VPNs are just for people who want to play defense, but they're not just about protecting yourself. You'd be amazed at the different streaming options you have when jumping on a server from another country. So protect yourself or just play around, buy it for yourself, or consider it as a gift for another internet user in your life. With NordVPN, you've got lots of options, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee if you decide it's not for you. There's never been a better time to enhance your online experience with NordVPN. Head to nordvpn.com/brainfood for a huge discount on the cost of a 2-year deal, plus 4 additional months for free. Again, that's nordvpn.com/brainfood, or just follow the link in the description box below. And now, today's video. Vostok, Antarctica is one of the most remote and hostile places on the planet. Perched atop the South Geomagnetic Pole, some 1,200 kilometers inland, it is a barren, frozen wasteland with average winter temperatures hovering around -70 Celsius. On July the 21st, 1983, Vostok experienced the lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth, a mind-numbing -89.2 degrees Celsius. This is, for the record, colder than frozen carbon dioxide or dry ice, which forms that a relatively balmy -78.5 degrees. It will come as no surprise then that this frigid outpost is inhabited almost exclusively by Russians. Established by the Soviet Union in 1957, Vostok Research Station has been manned almost continuously ever since, hosting around 25 scientists in the summer and 13 in the winter. The station's name, which in Russian means east, comes from the flagship of Russian Admiral Fabian von Bellingshausen, who in 1820 became the first European to set eyes on Antarctica. Bellinghausen's other ship, the Mirny or Peaceful, provides the namesake of Mirny Station on the coast. As aircraft cannot fly there during the dark Antarctic winter, every year a convoy of snow tractors must make an epic 1,410-kilometer journey inland from Mirny to Vostok to keep the remote station supplied. For over 50 years, Vostok Station has been involved in a wide variety of geophysical research, including studying the Earth's magnetic field and drilling deep boreholes into the ice sheet to study the planet's changing climate. But in 1993, researchers made an astonishing discovery that forever changed our understanding of the frozen southern continent. Deep below Vostok Station, buried under 4 kilometers of ice, lies a pristine body of liquid water the size of Lake Ontario, sealed off from the outside world for some 25 million years. It is one of the most unique and mysterious environments on Earth, and one which may yield insights into our planet's distant past and the existence of life on other planets. Welcome to the bizarre subglacial world of Lake Vostok. The existence of liquid lakes beneath the Antarctic ice sheet was first proposed in the late 19th century by Russian anarchist and polymath Peter Kropotkin. However, it would be another half-century before scientists would uncover evidence to support his hypothesis. During the Soviet Antarctic expeditions in 1959 and 1964, geographer Andrei Kapitsa conducted a series of seismic soundings to measure the thickness of the ice sheet around Vostok Station. Strangely, some of these soundings indicated the presence of smooth, flat areas amid the jagged bedrock. In the 1970s, American, British, and Danish researchers using airborne ground-penetrating radar also detected smooth areas beneath the ice, with the largest area lying directly below Vostok Station itself. But it was not until 1991 that Jeff Ridley, a remote sensing specialist at the Mallard Space Science Laboratory at University College London, used the European Remote Sensing, or ERS-1 satellite, to conduct a laser altimetry survey of the area. What he discovered stunned the world. Vostok Station lies at the tip of a vast depression in the surface of the ice sheet, making the outline of an enormous body of liquid water trapped 4 kilometers below. Lake Vostok, as it was soon dubbed, is truly enormous, measuring 250 kilometers kilometers long by 59 kilometers wide, covering an area of 12,500 square kilometers and containing 5,400 cubic kilometers of water, making it the 16th largest lake in the world by area and the 6th largest by volume. At first glance, the idea of such a large volume of water persisting in liquid form beneath the ice appears somewhat improbable, but scientists have put forward a number of hypotheses to explain this unusual phenomenon. Some posit that the enormous pressure exerted by the 4 kilometers of ice overhead prevents the lake from freezing, and that the ice itself serves to insulate the lake from the even colder temperatures on the surface. Others speculate the geothermal heat from the Earth's crust helps to keep the water liquid. Whatever the case, Lake Vostok is believed to have formed some 15 to 25 million years ago during the Miocene epoch, when the once temperate Antarctic continent became covered in a permanent layer of ice. The lake has remained sealed off from the outside world ever since, meaning that if living organisms somehow managed to survive in its waters, they are likely to have taken a completely different evolutionary path from their cousins on the surface. This unique history makes Lake Vostok one of the most pristine natural environments on Earth, and an evolutionary time capsule just waiting to be opened. In the decades since the discovery of Lake Vostok, over 400 other subglacial lakes have been found beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, including the equally massive Lake Concordia, Lake Sovetskaya, and Lake Ellsworth. Many of these lakes are thought to be at least temporarily connected by subglacial rivers that continuously appear and disappear based on changes in pressure between the ice and the bedrock. Much has also been learned about the geography and environment of Lake Vostok itself. Using ground-penetrating radar and other remote sensing techniques, scientists have determined that the lake is divided into 2 basins, separated by a tall, rocky ridge running across the lake's southern end. In 2005, a large island was also found in the center of the lake. The lake's average depth is around 432 meters, around the same as Lake Superior, while the bottom appears to be covered in a thick layer of soft silt. In 2005, German, Russian, and Japanese researchers discovered that Lake Vostok even has tides, with the water level rising and falling up to 12 millimeters, depending on the position of the moon and the sun. While scientists originally believed that the lake remained sealed and pristine from the moment of its formation, later research by Robin Bell and Michael Studinger of Columbia University has revealed that the lake's entire volume is actually replaced every 13,300 years. While it may appear solid and immovable, the Antarctic ice sheet is in fact slowly but continuously moving, flowing outwards like a frozen river to the coast, where it breaks off or calves into the sea as icebergs. As the ice sheet moves over the surface of Lake Vostok, water freezes to its lower surface and is continually carried away as on a giant conveyor belt. The existence of such accretion ice appears to contradict the idea that the lake is prevented from freezing by the pressure of the ice above it, lending greater credence to the geothermal heating hypothesis. As for the biological environment of Lake Vostok, scientists speculate that due to the enormous pressure exerted by the ice sheet above, the lake's waters are saturated with up to 2.5 liters of nitrogen and oxygen per 1 kilogram of water, nearly 50 times the concentration in regular freshwater lakes on the surface. Much of this gas is likely trapped in the form of calthrates, solid ice-like crystals of water and ice molecules which often form in cold, high-pressure environments like the bottom of the ocean. In such a sparse and hostile environment, any bacteria or other organisms would have had to evolve special adaptations in order to survive, such as the ability to generate energy in the absence of sunlight, or special enzymes to protect their cells from damaging oxygen ions known as free radicals. However, much of this is just pure speculation, based on remote sensing data and observations of other organisms living in extreme environments. When it comes to studying the environment of Lake Vostok, there is no substitute for drilling down to the lake itself. Fortuitously, since its construction in 1957, Vostok Station has hosted the world's deepest ice core drilling program. The Antarctic sheet, like all glaciers, is made up of countless layers of snow, which are continuously buried and compressed into ice by the weight of the layers accumulating above them. This process traps bubbles of air in each layer, providing a time capsule of the atmosphere at the moment the layer was formed. By drilling down into the ice sheet and carefully measuring the ratios of certain isotopes in said air bubbles, scientists have been able to piece together an accurate record of the Earth's changing climate over the last 400,000 years. By the time the discovery of Lake Vostok was announced in 1993, Russian scientists had drilled down to a record-breaking depth of 3,623 meters, barely 400 meters short of the surface of the lake. This timing proved extremely fortunate, for in order to prevent the borehole from freezing and collapsing the project, scientists had pumped it full of 60 tons of freon and kerosene. Had the drill penetrated into the lake, these chemicals would have leaked out, contaminating the most pristine environment on Earth. Consequently, in 1998, drilling was deliberately halted 100 meters short of the lake's surface. In the decades since, scientists have fiercely debated how best to approach the exploration of Lake Vostok. Some have argued that with sufficiently advanced technology such as hot water drills and thorough sterilization, the lake can be successfully penetrated and studied without introducing outside contamination. Others, however, argue that the risk of contamination is too high and that the lake should be left in its original pristine condition. But while this debate raged, in 2005 the Russians decided to resume their drilling program. This effort nearly ended in disaster, as in October of 2007, the drill head became stuck in the hard accretion ice just above the lake's surface. In the process of freeing the head, the Russians poured 200 liters of kerosene down into the borehole, risking a major contamination event. This incident prompted the Antarctic and Southern Oceans Coalition, or ASOC, an environmental advocacy NGO, to petition the Russian Duma, or parliament, to ban further drilling operations unless authorized by the scientific community on Antarctic research, the international body charged with administering the 1959 Antarctic Treaty. Meanwhile, lacking a pristine sample of the lake's water to analyze, scientists turned to the next best thing: core samples of the accretion ice from the bottom of the borehole. One study conducted in 1999 by researcher Scott Rogers of Bowling Green State University in Ohio uncovered 3,507 unique gene sequences in the core samples, 1,623 of which matched sequences from known organisms. While 94% of these sequences came from various kinds of extremophile bacteria, the remaining 6% represented a wide variety of organisms, including fungi, crustaceans, and mollusks. A later 2020 study even discovered a gene sequence 97% similar to a species of rock codfish found off the coast of Antarctica. While these results seem to indicate a thriving ecosystem may lurk beneath the cold, dark waters of Lake Vostok, other scientists aren't so sure. According to Sergei Bulat, an expert on Lake Vostok from the Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute in Gatchina, Russia, few, if any, of the genetic sequences analyzed by Rogers actually belong to organisms living in the lake. As the drilling equipment was designed to extract ice cores and was not sterilized, most of these sequences, especially those from complex organisms like mollusks and fish, are likely just contamination from the surface. While Rogers countered that his team took every precaution to eliminate contamination, for years the matter remained unresolved for a lack of better samples. Then, in January of 2011, the head of Russia's Antarctic expedition, Valery Lukin, announced a new effort to finally penetrate Lake Vostok. After Lukin and his team had drilled down to within 50 meters of the lake's surface, they would switch to a new thermal drill head and clean silicon oil lubricant to drill the rest of the way. While the team succeeded in drilling to a depth of 3,720 meters, the coming of Antarctic winter forced the effort to be abandoned in February of 2011 before any samples could be taken. Drilling resumed in January 2012, and by October succeeded in reaching the surface of the lake. As planned, as soon as a sensor on the drill head detected a presence of liquid water, the head was withdrawn, creating suction that was intended to draw lake water up into the borehole, where it would freeze. Unfortunately, the high-pressure water instead gushed violently up the borehole and became heavily contaminated with kerosene and freon. The team tried again on January 10, 2013, and this time the process worked perfectly. The water sample froze into a cylindrical plug of transparent ice 2 meters long, which was then extracted from the borehole and sent to laboratories around the world for analysis. The results of these analyses have proven as mixed and inconclusive as those of the 1999 accretion ice samples. For example, a team headed by Vladimir Korolyov of the Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute has reported finding no less than 255 contaminant species in the 2013 water sample, along with large quantities of kerosene, freon, and silicon oil from the drilling process. One genetic sequence, however, was found to be only 86% similar to that of any known organism, raising hopes that it might belong to a unique inhabitant of Lake Vostok. However, Korolyov speculates that this too might also be a contaminant, most likely a type of bacterium known to live in and feed on kerosene. But even if living organisms exist exist in Vostok, they are likely few and far between. According to Scott Rogers, if the water and accretion ice samples are anything to go by, the density of bacterial cells in Lake Vostok is on the order of 100 cells per milliliter of water, incredibly low compared to freshwater lakes on the surface. Yet, despite such setbacks, the quest for life in Lake Vostok continues. For this unique environment may provide insights into a cataclysmic event that once nearly resulted in the extinction of all life on Earth. Some 650 million years ago, the planet and its oceans nearly froze solid, an event referred to by paleontologists as Snowball Earth. The environment in the little liquid water that remained during this period would have been very similar to that of Lake Vostok. Thus, by studying Antarctica's mysterious subglacial world, scientists hope to better understand how life managed to survive the extreme environment of Snowball Earth. Lake Vostok's unique environment may provide insights into the possibility of life on other planets. When NASA's Galileo space probe flew past Jupiter's moon Europa in 1995, it discovered a strange world covered in a vast fractured crust of ice. A crust, scientists speculate, which may hide a liquid ocean and possibly even life. Thus, for decades, scientists have been eager to use Lake Vostok and other Antarctic subglacial lakes as a testbed for technology that may one day travel to Europa in search of extraterrestrial life. One such effort is headed by Frank Carsey of the Polar Oceanography Group at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Since 1999, Carsey and a group of 6 engineers at JPL have been developing a torpedo-shaped cryobot designed to melt its way down through the polar ice and into Lake Vostok. To launch the cryobot, Carsey's team plans to use a high-pressure jet of hot water to drill down to within 500 meters of the lake's surface. The resulting borehole would only remain open for 24 hours, during which time the cryobot, meticulously sterilized, would be lowered by its power and data cable to the bottom, using electricity supplied from the surface through the cable. The cryobot would then heat up and melt its way through the remaining 500 meters of ice. Once in the lake, the probe would then use an array of onboard instruments to study the lake environment, transmitting the data to the surface via the cable. In 2002, the JPL team successfully tested a 1 meter long, 12 centimeter diameter probe melting down to 23 meters in a glacier on the island of Spitsbergen. As of the recording of this video, however, no attempt has yet been made to use the cryobot to explore Lake Vostok or Europa. This is perhaps unsurprising, as the concept will require considerable development before it is ready to explore Jupiter's moon. With the gas giant planet orbiting some 600 billion kilometers away, it takes radio signals nearly 2 hours to make the round trip between Jupiter and Earth, meaning that a Europa-bound cryobot will have to be entirely autonomous and capable of making its own exploration decisions. But even if Lake Vostok and Europa prove to be devoid of life, the unique world of Antarctica's subglacial lakes nonetheless stands as a fascinating reminder of how the natural world can still surprise us. As it turns out, Ecclesiastes was wrong. There is always something new under the sun. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.